Health for the Americas Environmental Sanitation is a Disney film from 1946, and usually I love the Health for the Americas films. They're usually very educational and informative, but with a good amount of humour in there too. This one, it was interesting, but it definitely wasn't as good. It feels like it's missing that spark that a lot of the other Disney Health for the Americas has. And I think maybe the reason for that is the lack of interaction with characters. Some of the others have interaction with human characters who are representing various different things within the cartoon. This one didn't really have that, and I think that might be why. Basically, it looks at how water eventually started to go into houses, about how people, no longer had to wash their clothes in polluted rivers. It looks at how they decided to get rid of household waste. And all of this is really interesting, and it looks at ways that cleanliness and sanitation has improved in America primarily, and it looks at sanitation issues in other countries, which is very fascinating. So it is interesting, and it's very well animated. It's very clear to see everything. Everything's there's a nice amount of detail, but things are not too cluttered. For example, at one point we just have a toilet with a pipe coming out of it. It's very obvious what we're looking at. It's not too busy. It's not trying to be too fussy or too detailed, but there's enough information there for it to be engaging enough. But it is lacking that spark that a lot of the Health for the Americas often have. So I wasn't really as engaged with it. I didn't find it to be very fascinating. The narration, I'm not sure who did the narration for this because IMDb has basically no information on it. But the narration is crisp, it's clear, it's easy to listen to, but it's not engaging. And I'm pleased that this is not the norm for the Health for the Americas. Usually they're much better than this. But I didn't mind it. If you're a fan of Disney, particularly Disney in the 40s, it's absolutely worth watching. I wouldn't say it's the definitive guide to environmental sanitation, but it's certainly interesting to look at how things were, what expectations were like. Obviously, sanitation today is significantly improved in a lot of areas, but in some ways we still do things in the same way, which is quite fascinating to look at, 80 years later. It's worth watching, but if you've never seen Health for the Americas before, I'd say don't make it your introduction to the series. There are some others that are much better, but it's not too bad. I didn't mind watching it. It didn't meet my expectations, but it was okay.